Our first section is going to be just behind the ear area where the head becomes flat into the side zone, and we're going to be creating some graduation, working from longer at the top of the line, shorter at the bottom of the line. Our sections that we're going to be using are going to be slightly forward diagonal, which is going to encourage the growth of the hair to sit forward, giving us more fluidity whilst we're building up weight on the curvature of the head. What that means is that we're cutting vertically and we're cutting a triangular line, working from longer to shorter, and horizontally, we're going to be over directing section 2 back to 1, 3 back to 2, 4 back to 3. My main goal is to keep as much length as possible around the top of the line where my fingertips start, and take away as much length and weight as possible as we work down the line through my fingers. This will help me build up that triangular shape in the back of the head, removing lots of weight above the occipital, but keeping and maintaining length in the crown. Now we have our foundations for the haircut through the contours and into the back area. We can now start to separate the top of the haircut off and start to cut in the shape. We're going to work with a central profile guide right down the middle of the head, working no more than 1 finger's depth for the guideline. Clipping either side out the way once groomed and clipped down neatly will allow us to work much more precisely and neatly as we work through the top. So we've only got 1 clean section the whole time. Let's now start off by combing that middle profile up, having a look at where the length is going to sit if we cut it to a desired length. This is going to be our indication of how short to cut the top of the haircut. Now remember, a square shape through the top of the head will allow us to maintain length through the fringe area, remove weight and density behind the frontal zone into the apex on the top of the head, and then maintain length around the crown area, making that connection into the back. So it really gives you that solid, compact, even square shape, which will allow you to maintain length going into the front area. Once the hair is dry, we're going to now just move the hair around a little bit, have a look at how it's sitting on the fringe area, see how much weight is coming forward, see the length on the fringe sitting above the eyebrows, seeing what we want to do in terms of refinery work. Again, this is just me having a little think and moving the hair around. Just making the transition in the weight line to the shorter hair a much smoother, more beautiful process without spending too long on trying to scissor over comb it all. Let's start with the taper fade on the close lever on our main clipper. This should be short enough for this type of hair. As you can see, it's quite fair and also fine around the temple area, meaning it will look shorter than it actually is. So we can afford to go just with the 0 on the clipper, work in a diagonal line from the bottom of the corner of the temple into the top of the ear, and then just slightly fading out that top of the beard to make sure we get that nice visual blend from the beard into the 0 taper. We now have no guard on the clipper at all with an open lever, just working with the corner of the guard, working really delicately into that line, and then finally closing the lever a little bit more until we finally dissolve the bottom guideline completely. We're now going to just sharpen up around the edges with a detailer, making sure that we create a little bit more strength in those corner areas of the temple. Then carefully lifting the fringe up to make sure that we square off that corner for more strength. It's important to remember that not every area on the haircut will need texturizing, so it's important for you to move the hair around, see how it's sitting, feel it with your fingers, and only work texture and take away density from the areas that really feel and look like they need it. We can now clearly see from the front profile that we have that much stronger square shape rather than triangular shape from the front profile, giving it that much slimmer view. On top, we have that nice, heavily textured look, really working nicely with the color on the hair that the client has. And the fringe length is also complementing the face shape much more so, rather than covering the forehead too much. From the side panel, we see that really beautiful clean blend working from the temple area and also into the nape area, really extending out that length and shape towards the crown area, rather than what we saw before was something that was too heavy and too bulky. It's really easy to be able to manipulate this haircut into something slightly different. If we wanted to work more of a mid to a high fade, or if we wanted to take that length shorter on top, it would give you a very different look to what you have now. We've gone for a really classic salon friendly feel, which isn't too intense or too much for the client to have to deal with. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you on the next one.